Hey, it is actually the sad Hemptress. Normally I say the happy Hemptress, but although I'm very happy to see everybody that I'm seeing this evening, I'm not happy for the reason why. Of course, I am down at the Lexington Campbell House at the first, supposed to be a smaller but not such a small gathering on behalf of Gatewood Galbraith and a funeral memorial. And it's Tuesday evening, less than a week, just about a week after Gatewood passed, for Gatewood's memorial for Hemprock Radio. All right, I'm standing next to somebody who I met for the first time this evening, so I guess I can thank Gatewood for that, although I've known who you are for many, many years. I'm standing here with Paul Stanford, and you are the Hemp and Cannabis
Foundation. Hemp and Cannabis Foundation and our THCF medical clinics. We also have it's a portal for us, hemp.org, HEMP.org.
Hemp.org.
And
wonderful.
so...
and you're in from Oregon.
I flew in from Portland, Oregon, left before the sun came up this morning.
I smoke a lot of pot from Oregon.
Well, I have some to smoke with you. I brought some, more than enough to give away. I don't want to fly back with it now.
That's right. We have to destroy it.
Destroy the evidence.
Destroy the evidence. That's right. So tell us, I know you've been in the movement for a really long time now. When did you get started?
You know, it was back in 78. I was just a week after my 18th birthday, and I went to a Dana Beal organized event, the White House Smoke Kit. And then I met Gatewood in the 80s at normal conventions and Drug Policy Foundation conferences.
Yeah.
And since then they've merged with the Linda Smith Center. It's now the Drug Policy Alliance, but it was DPF back then.
That's exactly right.
And so I got a call. I started importing hemp paper and fabric. If you go to the Great Book of Hemp, I'm on page 3, and my Portland companies are the first companies that imported hemp paper and fabric in
Even
generations.
Before the hempery.
Anyway. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Don said he read about me, and that inspired him to get going. Then he was one of my largest customers for my hemp paper for many years. But I got a call in September of 1990 from Gatewood saying, Willie Nelson's going to call you. And sure enough, about a week later, he did. And then I flew back here to Lexington. This is only my third trip to Lexington right now. But I flew here in October of 1990, and I was there when Willie and Gatewood drove Gatewood's red Mercedes-Benz station wagon from Lexington through the state capitol in Frankfort and on to Louisville, where he did a benefit concert. And then most recently, I've done radio shows with Casper on with Gatewood. In fact, Casper said, "Who do you want as a guest?" I would always say Gatewood.
Gatewood. He's my number one guest.
Yeah, Gatewood was the best speaker in our movement.
I agree.
One of the best speakers I've ever met in my lifetime or ever seen. He blew away most of the real politicians out there. And the one line I loved him to say, and I didn't learn it till this past week, is he called our opposition the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, fascist,
elitist complex. I used to make him say that.
Bitches.
Yeah, sons of bitches.
I did too.
I used to make him repeat it 3 times. Say it again.
Yeah, right.
I could never say it like him.
Right. No, I can't either. No one could talk. He had a gift for gab.
Yes, he did.
He was highly gifted speaker.
Yeah, and you're right, he is the best speaker. I've seen a lot of speakers, lots of speakers. There's probably only one other person in the movement over the years that I saw, and that was at the Madison Hempfest, or the Great Midwest Marijuana Harvest Festival that Ben Mazel put on. It was 2002, and I heard Dan Solano speaking on behalf of his police organization, Police Officers for Drug Law Reform. He helped found LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. And I've seen a lot of speakers, and I've heard Gatewood many. I could quote Gatewood on his speeches. Very much the best. And as I said earlier, I've lost my number one speaker for any event that I have because Gatewood has always supported us and has always come up.
He was always there for all of us.
Always there. We know he's an hour and a half from me, so he's right there with us. So, I don't know where I'm going to get another speaker. But in all of the years that I've seen speakers over and over again, there's actually 2 other people that have inspired me enough that I can say they're up there with Gatewood, and that was Dan Solano, the first cop I ever saw speak at the time, retired cop, and as you mentioned, DPA, Ethan Nadelman.
Oh yeah,
fantastic speaker.
He's highly educated.
Extremely, but I mean, he was trained to do this, and he talk about a speech.
Yeah.
He can really, I would say he's about the only person up there that's close with Gatewood on getting people really riled up and saying what needs to be really said.
I think Gatewood was even a little bit better.
He
myself.
was.
He threw in homespun humor.
Yes, exactly.
He
That's
knew
why.
his facts. He would say things that Ethan wouldn't say.
True.
You know,
True.
He wouldn't call Ethan would never call anyone a son of a bitch, even if they were.
Yeah.
But Gatewood would.
He would. He could get by with it.
And he'd make you laugh when he said it.
That's
you know, it wasn't like you were shocked. It was funny when he said it.
That's right. And that's funny. So you came in right before myself as well. Although I was planning on making contact with the movement, I had a bust in 1998 February, and after that that's a long time over now, and was facing court. So I quit my job at Budweiser and went to college and was trying to shape my life to, at some point, join the movement and get active, because I was disgusted. I was like, the cops didn't scare me, they just pissed me off. And so I wanted to become an activist. So I was already geared up, and I'd already found out about Normal and was on their list, and then got the Ohio Normal newsletter that happened to mention the hemp tour coming to Cincinnati October 20th. So that was the summer issue. So I knew
Debbie Goldsberry.
Yes,
and
absolutely. The Cannabis Action Network girls were with them. I didn't know who they were at the time, but I saw all of them early on and met them early on. They helped out with the campaign in '91 as well. And Jack was there. I didn't know who he was. I saw him speak, had no clue who the guy was.
Jack actually wrote the first edition of his book in my house in 1985. I'm in all the editions and dedication.
That was going to be on Saturday, October 20th that year. And earlier in the week I can never remember, and I say this all the time, either Inside Edition or Current Affairs, one of those magazine programs, and they did a segment on Gatewood and Willie in the Hempmobile.
CNN.
And I'm like, oh my God. No, this was the half hour kind of magazine show. It was one of those.
Bill O'Reilly or Riley.
One of them covered it. One of those shows covered a segment on Gatewood and Willie in the Hempmobile and his campaign. And I'm like, what? Oh my God, there's some guy in Kentucky that wants to legalize marijuana and he's running for governor? I can't vote for him, so I'm going to go work for him. And that Saturday I signed up for the Green Democrats at the rally.
All right.
And so sort of the same, path, but a little bit after you.
Yeah.
And,
I found out about Gatewood's passing because of your post on the Arrow list. And so that's how I first found out.
I'm sorry to be the one to tell you.
Well, I'm glad you did. Glad you did.
Yeah. Broke my heart, I know that. And my first call was to Dana Beal. That was he helped his lawyer team.
Yeah, in Dodgeville.
In Dodgeville, Wisconsin. And so Gatewood was, a matter of fact, Jim Sutherland filmed the comments at the hearing. Probably again this last time, but he was there when they were trying to get him no sentence, and he ended up with the 2.5 years on, and he was looking at 4 and 4.
I talked to Gatewood just a couple of days before that, and I was at that point considering whether to come out. And last minute circumstances made it where I couldn't get there to Dodgeville.
So, and I don't know if you're aware, it was Dana's birthday yesterday.
No, I didn't. Might have talked to him. I talked to him the day before or yesterday.
His birthday was yesterday, and right now he's in New York City.
Oh, good.
He got there today.
He was just getting ready to go.
Yeah, he got there today safely. Good. And so, we'll be doing something January 23rd. That would have been Gatewood's 65th birthday.
Right.
And he fell just short of that. So, but I think you're probably about the only person that's came from the West Coast here today. We'll see what happens on Thursday. And
well, you said a moment ago in talking to Danny, you mentioned tsunami, and did you hear Gatewood's eulogy for Jack Hare?
Yes, he used that same terminology for Jack.
Everything he said about Jack is applicable to Gatewood.
Absolutely, everything. And who else to be the better, or to be the person? Who better to be the person than Gatewood to do that eulogy?
It's really a shame. So many of our leaders and people who worked their whole life, our heroes,
we're losing
have not lived to see the end of this terrible drug war and marijuana restoration.
Well, I hope you do. I hope the rest of them.
You're
one of the early ones too. So let's hope that we will all make it. The rest of us make it.
Yeah.
And if not, there better be some fresh people coming in.
We got some really strong spirit helpers now.
So the only thing I can say is, although it's not a good way to start 2012, maybe that spirit release will cause the usher of the 2012 that we all want.
I hope so.
So All righty. Well, Paul,
thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, hon.
Just give me, I wrote my number on that card, right?
That's all right. Don't give the number up, but give out your websites and information.
Hemp.org is the portal to all our sites. I'm working on a petition to completely legalize hemp and cannabis.
Yeah.
We're going to put it on the ballot. There's going to be at least 3 states that vote on legalization this November. Washington, Colorado, they've just turned in their signatures. We have 6 months, and we're more than a third of the way to the ballot right now.
Wonderful. I know Michigan's working on one.
Yeah, Michigan just started. I know Matt Abel there very well.
Absolutely. And
I have offices in Detroit and Southfield, helping patients get medical marijuana permits. That's the main thing I do as a business. I have doctors, about 15 doctors in 10 states that help people get their medical marijuana
Great
permit.
networking. Great networking.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be done. It needs to be done. Well, I'd love to have you on the show sometime in the future.
Anytime. You've got my
separate
cell phone.
from this. And
if you ever need, I'll be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Gatewood Galbraith, come on up here, my brother man, all the way from Kentucky. To tell you some truth, this guy's been doing this longer than Hempfest has been doing this. Give him some warm love.
Thank you very much, friend. Hey, thank you all. Listen, I hope you all remember that the theme of this Hempfest is "This One's for You, Jack." This one is for Jack Hare. For a lot of you young folks out there, if it wasn't for Jack Hare, you wouldn't be here at this Hempfest, because there wouldn't be a Hempfest. Jack Hare is responsible for it. I'm going to take a couple of minutes to pay tribute to my friend Jack Hare, who passed this past several months ago. Here's my tribute to him. Jack Hare is a social and philosophical tsunami, the ripples from whose splash will forever grace the shores of human consciousness in every freedom-loving nation. He is the grand champion of we the people, and a natural cycle in our battle with the synthetic subversion which threatens the very concept of the sovereignty of each human individual. Jack's tireless efforts to eliminate the facts about cannabis have furnished freedom fighters everywhere with the tools of knowledge with which to resist the fascism of the corporate state as it seeks to subject everyone to its economic bottom line. Jack recognized that cannabis is a gateway to existentialism, which enlightens our existence and is the basis of our freedom of choice. He also recognized the miraculous healing powers of this herb, and many sick and dying people have found comfort in its use after reading his wonderful manifesto, "The Emperor Wears No Clothes." I am one of them. Jack Hare's grand spirit may have left his worn-out body, but he has entered into the hearts and minds of millions of us who will forever be grateful to have been educated by his commitment to the truth. God bless you, Jack Hare. The message that Jack and I have is that your younger generation are open to perils to which he and I never had to conceive. That there is a great move afoot to take you out of the property of sovereign human beings and put you into the property of the man. The man. The petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate, fascist, elite son of a bitches. You see, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights as impediments to the implementation of their new world order and global economy. And they are not warm and fuzzy about you or me or our children or grandchildren. And they are afraid to give everybody in the rest of the world due process and constitutional rights. So in order to make it one world, they're going to take ours away. And the question of hemp, the question of cannabis, is the most vivid illustration of how this government has overstepped its bounds in policing the private behavior of citizens. When they told us we couldn't plant a hemp seed in the ground, they severed us from the natural cycle. That is what they seek to do. I call it the synthetic subversion, where they want to replace all the natural products on earth that used to be grown out of God's earth and God's seed, and replace them with synthetic products and knock our farmer out of the agrarian society and the agrarian market and make the ghost towns of our small cities and villages across this country. We need to rediscover a cash crop, one that will allow our farmers to go back to the land, one that will allow our farmers to compete with the petrochemical pipelines. you plant U.S. 7% agricultural land in hemp, you wouldn't have to import another drop of oil. We can replace the spills in the Gulf. We can replace the environmental catastrophe that the petroleum pipelines have cast upon Mother Earth, and instead let our farmers grow hemp as a fuel crop. In 1991, Willie Nelson and I poured hemp oil into my Mercedes diesel and drove it across Kentucky in my bid for governor. That's why he started his biofuel plant. Listen, folks, you all have been handed a torch. Jack Hare, bless his soul, passed away. I'm getting old up here. You know, we cannot carry this ball much longer. You have to become educated. You have to learn the truth. You have to reach out there and grab the responsibility of maintaining your freedom. Every generation must remit its own freedoms. And those very sacrifices, right up to the very last second I've been talking to you, made on your behalf, cannot continue anymore. What really counts is your all's commitment to what sacrifices you're willing to make in the future to maintain your freedom. And it's right there in front of you. I encourage you to learn the law. I encourage you to learn the political process. I encourage you to reach out there and take responsibility for your own freedom. Live your life like a warrior. God bless you all. Thanks for having me out here in Seattle.